So I had a New Zealander come and visit me in Canada, and this guy's name was Tim, and he's a bartender in Auckland, New Zealand. And I like telling this story because New Zealanders have treated me fucking well in my life. I like Canada, but Canada's one of those places where like we talk a big game, we want to be good hosts, but we're just not. We're fucking flaky. I don't know if you've been to Canada, but it's just fucking alright. I got a friend who's got a plane, so we can go skydiving, and I know another guy who's got a skidoo, and we can go skidooing, and none of this is ever gonna happen. I'm gonna get fucking hammered and forget who you are in about 4 minutes. It's a horrible thing. I know people, like, you want to be a good host, but you just end up not being a good host. But little countries, I'm sure Norway's the same way. If you make the effort to come to Bergen, you show people a good fucking time. And New Zealand, it's across the planet. If you show up in New Zealand, if you got a New Zealand friend and you show up in New Zealand, they will treat you like you are a dead relative come to life. Like they can't believe it. If I go, oh yeah, all right, oh fucking yeah, all right. Like they promised to take me surfing, and I just thought they're bullshit artists. No one's gonna take me surfing. And then like 4 hours later, you're still drunk in the bar, you know. Here's your wetsuit, there's your board, our friend died on it, but you look lucky. Let's go. Woo! Like, full the fuck on. And I was shown such an amazing time that when Tim called me up to say that he was going to drop into Vancouver. He was being polite. He said, do you mind if I drop into Vancouver? I've got to go to Holland because I'm marrying a Dutch girl. And it's my favorite thing about New Zealanders. They're the only people that can make dropping into Vancouver on their way to Holland seem like a plausible travel move, right? Like, what the fuck is wrong with you, man? You couldn't get tickets to the moon? What are you talking about? Those are trips of a lifetime individually, man. But I tell you, Bergen, I will never forget it as long as I live. Tim shows up in Canada. He got to Vancouver at nearly midnight. It was about 11:45 at night. Stepped out of the airplane. We came to the airport to pick him up. First words out of his mouth, I want to see a bear. And against my better judgment, because if you don't know Canadians, here's one telling you, we are very happy not finding bears. We know the bears are there. You don't want to actually find a bear, happen to survive the mauling, then actually have to explain to your friends when you're in the hospital, what were you doing up there anyway? Well, we were looking for bears. And we found one. He wasn't angry at first, so I poked him with a stick for a while. Then my friend from New Zealand got a photograph. So against all of my instinct, at 3 a.m., 3 hours after he's arrived, he gets into town at midnight. 3 hours later, we go hiking 3 hours to get to the top of Cypress Mountain that you may know through the Olympics. The mountain that didn't have fucking snow on it during the snowboarding, right? Like, it's the closest mountain to Vancouver where there are definitely bears. You probably won't see one, but they are definitely there. So we hike from 3 in the morning to 6 in the morning to be at the top of Cypress Mountain at dawn, the very best time to find large, hungry carnivores. And I so wish, I wish in my life that I could tell you right now that we came into a clearing and there was a bear leaned against a log. And the light was perfect coming through the trees, and he said, take the shot, take the shot. You are so lucky, I just had breakfast. And of course, that didn't happen. As luck has it, that's never gonna happen in your life. That didn't happen. But what did actually happen is that we came across a massive and still steaming morning bear shit, which he took a photograph of. And before he pulled the trigger on the camera, he looked back at me and said, you could hide a head in there. Well, that's why we don't go looking for him, Tim. That is a big poo from a big animal. And the wonder for me, you can feel me telling this story. I enjoy telling this story. I wouldn't have enjoyed telling it so much if it ended where it is right now, because it used to end here. I didn't have a huge finish for it. There was no big finish. It's just a true story about me taking a New Zealander to try and find a bear in Vancouver. And it wasn't until I went back to Auckland, New Zealand, to tell this exact same story in a room full of New Zealanders, again, like I'm doubly warmed by telling New Zealanders this story about their guy, Tim, and I get to this moment in the show, and a woman times a heckle perfectly from the back of the room. At this moment where it's dead quiet, she yells from the back of the room through everybody, loud enough so everyone heard it, and clear enough so everyone understood it. At this moment she said, "I think he might have said beer." And it was only at that moment how much more likely it seemed to me that a man would step out of nearly a day in a plane and want a beer, perhaps, rather than to be marched into the bush by a guy who must have appeared a total psychopath at the time. You want a beer? Well, follow me. There's one of their poos. And to this day, I'm not sure if that's what Tim meant or not. Haven't seen him since.